Hello, you beautiful, lovely, gorgeous individuals in here, out there, everywhere today, and welcome to a new episode of Talking Sam. I'm your host, Sam Macias, and on today's episode, I will be talking with YouTuber, reactor, commentator of the Darqui YouTube channel. He is Diego. Diego, thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much for that intro, and really honored to be here, and was really looking forward to this, and kind of wait to talk movies and shows and fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As I've been on YouTube and discovering not only the Not So Average Fangirl, We Last Reacts, Morgan Terry,
Hmm.
you get to learn more about the other reactors like Third Bill, Mikey Venture, and you as well, Darkrai. And going through your channel, watching how you do your edits, how you react to certain movies and shows, it's fun, it's interesting, it's a new perspective. And we're going to get into all of that down the way in this interview. But I want to talk to you real quick about how you first got into YouTube and creating videos for your channel.
I mean, well, it's a pretty interesting question because it kind of goes a long way because this is actually not my first attempt to do videos, to do a YouTube channel. It's actually my third attempt.
Oh, okay.
My first two was actually like 8 years ago, back in 2015.
Hmm.
I was just going into college, and I was mainly influenced by many movie YouTubers at that time. And I was going to do movie reviews. My mindset was going to do movie reviews. And I was mainly influenced by Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman, which
Mm.
are two content creators that I followed for many, many years.
Same here, man. Yeah.
And yeah, and the thing is that when I started to do those videos, I was I was so awkward. Like the editing was atrocious, and I was just not being myself. And that was the hardest thing to really nail it, because one thing is to, interact with your friends and your family in your daily life, and another thing is being on camera.
Right.
And I really struggled that a bit. And those first two attempts, they were bad. They were they were so forgettable. And then I back in 2020, actually, I I I I got to be myself, motivated again to try again, but this time through the lens of applying some of the concepts and learnings that I got to experience in college. So when I started that YouTube channel originally in 2020, this YouTube channel,
Mhm.
I was analyzing movies and TV shows through the lens of literature and psychology, which were my two majors back in college. And they were more like analysis kind of videos. And I tried that for like 7 or 8 months or something like that. It didn't really work out. And so I started to try out video essays, and I did like three. It was One Division, House Moving Castle, and N with an E, which is the only one that I have up in the channel. I like all of those videos that I'm mentioning. I have only like in public the N with an E one,
Mhm.
and people really liked it. But then I thought, like, maybe just for the fun of it, why not a reaction?
Okay.
Because I was really into like watching mostly movie reactions. But the thing is that I wanted to react to something small, like something that didn't take too much time for me editing, because the movie was just, I saw it like this big project, and I didn't want to get into TV shows that were like had like 40-minute or 1 hour long episodes. I wanted to do something smaller, like 20-minute episodes.
Right.
And I check on my watch list, and the only show that like fit those requirements, to say, it was Legend of Korra. The Legend of
Mm.
Korra was the only animated show that I had there. The rest was live action. It was like a bunch of seasons, a bunch of really long episodes. So I was very much looking forward to Legend of Korra because I really love Avatar: Last Airbender.
Mhm.
And I reacted to that first episode. I loved it. I loved the experience of it. I loved reacting to it. I loved editing it. It was the most fun I had editing a video at that time. And I posted that video like at 11 p.m. I'm not expecting anything. And the next day, it kind of, I I wouldn't say like it was viral, but it kind of blew up in the sense of like a lot of people came to the channel,
Hmm.
and I was at 90 something subscribers, and in a span of hours, I was like at 250 subscribers, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, yeah, people really got into it, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna do reactions, which was not really in my plans. It was just something that it was in my head just to try it out, and well, I just went along with it.
A
Yeah,
little bit, yeah, a little bit ago, you mentioned you went to school for literature and psychology. Did you
yeah.
decide to go into that field to get a better understanding for film and cinema when you're doing your analyzing videos for and with the E or any other ones when you're starting out, trying to get better understanding of a character and what they're going
Mm-hmm.
through for like their progression of the story?
It's a great question. Actually, when I got into literature, which is originally it's called an English major that
Mhm.
I graduated from the English major back in the UCR, University of Costa Rica.
Oh, nice.
Um, yeah, I got into that major because I didn't have a score high enough to get into the collective communication major in that university, which
Oh,
also included the emphasis of audiovisual production, which was
mm,
always the major that I wanted to get into. Um, so the second option was English major because it had those literature courses,
hmm.
and my parents like really pushed me at the time to, hey, you got maybe you can try out this major because it has these very basic concepts that cinema like really inspires from. And I fell in love with literature. I really got back into reading, and after hating reading my teenage years, and I at that time I got the opportunity to make a short student film that was like my first um real like connection with film, in the sense of like producing something. And then I wanted to get more into characters. I really wanted to get more into the character psychology, and that's why I got into the psychology major, because I wanted to apply some concepts to um the analysis of whatever I'm watching in movies and TV shows. So
Right.
yeah, psychology was mainly because not because I wanted to be a psychologist necessarily, because no, um, but because I wanted to really delve into characters' mindsets and psychology.
And do you feel that now, looking back, it helps you with your reaction videos when you're watching Korra, when you're watching the Shira, the Owl House, when you're studying and watching the characters going through what they're going through for the story? Did you feel like, okay, I understand why certain character is doing a certain thing in this certain plot?
Certainly, for sure, for sure. I think actually, when like looking back on it, I feel like when I'm reacting to these shows, I feel like I'm much more. I don't know. I appreciate characters just a lot more than I used to. Like the movies and shows that I watched as a kid and in my adolescence and all, I still love them. But I'm thinking maybe I just love them, but kind of superficially because I didn't really look
Mhm.
too much into them.
Right.
But these shows, I feel like if I had watched these shows as a kid or something like that, I would have enjoyed them for sure, but I
Right.
wouldn't have found as much depth as I do now. And it certainly has helped a lot. For example, I feel like even though I did drop psychology like halfway through the major, mainly because of the pandemic.
Right.
Um I certainly have to give that major a lot of credit um for the really deep and really just the deep appreciation that I have for characters like Katra and for Amity in the Owl House, for Korra and the Legend of Korra, because they're so complex. They're
Hmm.
so like much more. I think they are better appreciated by a more adult mindset. And I think for sure that major gave me a lot of tools in order to really delve into these characters, which is really one of my passions doing these videos. More than reacting, is also analyzing.
Right. And also with that literature background, you could just, when you're listening to just the lines and then reading just the writing in the script, you can, is a much more of an understanding of how the script is structured for the characters like Aketra, Amity, and Korra. Just how each one, they're so different, but if you really look at it, they're very much similar in a way.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think literature, it gave me a lot of understanding of how, how to properly build a story, like differentiate story from plot. And I feel like that really like gave me a much better understanding of something like Lord of the Rings, for example. Like, why did I love Lord of the Rings so much?
Right.
Because yeah, the plot is taking like this, getting to taking the ring to destroy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the story. The story is so much more than that. It's about these two hobbits
Mm-hmm.
and about friendship and all. So
It's
really
about
gave me
it's about
yeah,
getting to Mount Doom and trying to destroy it.
exactly. And how you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you get there is the important part. And I think that's really part of the beauty of like watching these shows, that it has such an emphasis on the themes and how the characters really like delve with that emotionally, and how really the story drives like guides the viewer, not really the plot. Like when it's a plot driven movie or TV show,
Mm-hmm.
it can be fun for sure, but it's not as emotionally engaging, to be honest.
Right.
One of the reasons why I prefer season 4, The Legend of Korra, so much more than the other ones. I love the other 3 seasons of Korra, but season 4 was something much more special and personal and intimate, that it just gave me the reason why, like, what is my my favorite kind of thing to watch, and literature just really like solidified that concept for me.
Right. And I totally agree with you on that part as well. Um, just to go back, you said this was not your first attempt on YouTube. You had other attempts,
Yeah.
and you, as you said, you were a fan of the Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckmans, and I'm also assuming the Christian Harlows, John Campias, the Perry Nemrovs of the world. Were you watching them back in the day, looking at them and how they would review movies and how they would just give their thoughts and analysis, and thought, hey, maybe I can do that, post a channel and see where it goes? Or was it just, I want to give just my own take, my own personal thoughts? What was your kind of thoughts when you were first starting off on your original YouTube attempts?
Yeah, I was mainly inspired by them to, give my own thoughts, give my own takes on it. I just didn't know what was really my own take, though. Like what like one thing that I really struggled as a teenager, because I consumed those mainly as a teenager, is that I wasn't sure if what I was saying was really my own thoughts or somebody else's thoughts.
Exactly.
And that's the trick. That was a tricky part of me, like reading reviews or watching reviews beforehand or afterwards. If after I watched a movie, mostly movie, is that whatever I'm thinking, I'm just like repeating what someone else said or what I'm saying. And that was, like I struggled with that, with those first 2 attempts, because when I showed it to friends, to family, they all of them said, that's not you, that's really not you. And I was thinking, why and I look back on it, and it totally makes sense. I feel like I was way too influenced and just way too, like just not like trying to be someone I'm not.
Nice.
And with reactions, the thing is that I only watch reactions of content that I don't post in the channel. Like I only, like mostly I watch movie reactions. I don't watch really reactions to She-Ra or The Legend of Korra that I have finished, because I don't really want them to influence that too much. I mean, I've watched a handful, but I found out that it can be pretty powerful, the influence of some people's thoughts and expressions on a piece of media that I I don't know. It's fun to to really like find out like what when somebody is saying what their thoughts on a film or a piece of media. I think it's really interesting to see that there are some on YouTube and also in personal life that are there or are there not like authentic thoughts
Mhm.
on whatever you're watching. I think it really depends on personal experience, and I think reactions have gave me that freedom, is that whatever I'm watching is just my most authentic self, and if I happen to love it, I love it. If I happen to dislike it, I dislike it, and that's it. And that's why I think those reviews, for example, from Jeremy, Chris, and all, I started to like watch less and less of them because
Mm.
I just want to give my input.
Right. And being that there's so many out there that have a lot of different opinions, did that ever mess with your mindset when you're trying to give your opinion? Because one Jeremy Johns could love a movie, and one Chris Stuckman could not have the same opinion, or not have the same opinion, or have a different perspective of it. Did that also come into effect as well when you were making starting off your reviews?
At the time, I think so. But it affected me much more in my personal life, like when my like commenting movies with friends. For example, I was really excited about, for example, this Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And I remember that there was a lot of really controversial talk about that movie.
Yeah.
And Chris Stockman, he didn't hate it, but he disliked the movie. Jeremy loved that movie. I remember he loved that movie. And when I watched the movie, I really tried to convince myself that what I watched was good. And I was thinking about what Jeremy said. So,
Mm.
yes. And when I look back on it, when I rewatched the movie, I was like, no, this is shit. This is a
Yeah.
shitty movie. And I feel like when that was 2016. That was after my first two attempts on YouTube.
Okay.
When that happened, I was like, no, wait, what am I doing? Why why am I allowing what other people say like deeply influence what I watch, what I really want to say. So it it got me, and that was not like the end of it, because a few years after I got into that kind of like trap in which I tried to convince myself that whatever I watched was good, just to be like the defender of that movie. It happened to me the
Mm.
first time I watched Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Yeah, and I rewatched the movie and I was like, no, that movie's just not good. I I tried to convince myself when I watched the last season of Game of Thrones. I really tried to convince myself that was not as bad as people said.
Okay.
I was so wrong. I was so wrong. And it allowed me to be more critical,
Hmm.
but also to be more open to more pieces of media. Um, like not just watch what everyone's watching, in the sense of like um I don't know, like the typical, like the top 2050 movies in IMDb, because they're great, mostly great, but there's so much more than that.
Right.
And that's what really got me into, for example, The Legend of Korra, because The Legend of Korra, beforehand, I was told very mixed things on it. People really loved it, people really hated it.
Hmm.
And I'm glad that I gave myself the opportunity to watch it and have my own take, because I genuinely think it's overhated, for example. I think it's really good. So yeah, no, those times of Jeremy, Chris, John Camp, yeah, I love those times, but they kind of negatively, that was really my own fault, negatively influenced the way I consume media, because yeah, I was just not giving my most authentic thoughts at that time.
And I'll ask one more question on this topic. Do you feel like those guys, I think now the movie review kind of genre aspect of the world has kind of changed, especially after COVID. Do you feel
Yeah.
like they have still that same influence today? Or is it kind of have that gone down, especially with a lot of people like to put in political views on certain things, which I think is ridiculous and dumb. But
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like they're like the tribalism and stuff like that? Do you feel like it's kind of taking over? It's not making it fun to do and talk about movies nowadays?
I think it's a really interesting question, because I feel like that influence on me particularly, it has gone down. Like I really don't really consume it that much. I consume much more reactions than reviews,
Right.
because yeah, the movie discussion around it, it's gotten pretty toxic.
Yeah.
And it has become to a point in which talking about a certain movie franchise, it becomes like just, like exhausting and kind of draining.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made, for example, it just kind of made me lose the fun to talk about something like Star Wars, which I really love.
Yep.
And that's more than the quality of the movies, which yeah, it's questionable as of lately. It's the discourse around it that made it so less fun.
Yeah.
And because of that, I only talk Star Wars with like one or two friends. And that's about it. And I used to talk, I'm sorry about the language, the shit about Star Wars. I used to really, really like share my love for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like that, you know, the thing is that when all of this just really started to be like this huge toxic bubble, I realized that I really wanted to get more into animation, because animation really is, I feel like it's a totally different world, and it's
Oh yeah.
so much, and it's so there's so much greatness in it, and it's not talked about enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see The Legend of Korra, She-Ra, The Owl House, even Arcane, you could argue, having the same headlines as something like Star Wars, or the in this big era of reboots that we live in. And they're amazing. These are amazing shows we talk about.
Absolutely.
And I feel like when I got more into this medium that I haven't explored as much as live action, I got a new appreciation for film, and like more appreciation for like original content, for example. And just the just the demographic alone of animation, like the target audience of animation, is
Mm-hmm.
just so much more fresh. It really, that's the thing. I feel really identified with the, for example, with the community that I have formed, with the audience that I have attracted. Because even though I do love those movies that I watched before, and those franchises like Star Wars and Pirates, and Christopher Nolan movies, Martin Scorsese movies, I love them. But that audience, whenever I see in the comments or the content creators around them, they don't really speak to me. They
Mm.
they don't they really don't anymore, at least.
Right.
Animation is a completely different thing. Like I feel so much more identified with the discourse around film, about story and characters and all. So yes, I do feel like in the past few years it has influenced my um my appreciation for film and the discourse around film, that it has directed me completely in another direction that I felt that I feel that it is so much more rewarding, which is animation.
Nice. And on that note, I believe this year has been pretty much the year of animation when it comes to film, going from Super Mario's, Across the Spider-Verse, Elemental, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Those movies had just killed it. Not
I've
just
heard,
yeah, not just critic wise, but just audience wise. The animation is great. The story in them. Mine is Super Mario. I'll admit I'm not the biggest Super Mario Mario fan.
Fine.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with Super Mario, but I appreciate it. I think I went into the movie expecting the Lego movie kind of.
Oh, that movie's amazing.
Yes.
I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite movies, actually, the Lego movie.
Me too, hands down. That was one of the biggest surprises in my life, seeing the Lego movie and how good that was.
Me too. Me too. That's arguably, I'm sorry, I'm orange juice. I'm kind of thirsty.
Hey,
the
refill, man.
Lego the Lego movie is the biggest surprise I've ever seen in my life, because when you watch the trailers, it was just like this. It felt like this giant commercial for Lego.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. And then you watch the movie, and it's so much more sophisticated than most movies out there. So much. And when I watched the movie, I feel like that's the movie that got me thinking, wait, good animation is not only Pixar. There's so much more than that. And when I watched the Lego movie, I thought, wait, Pixar is not the only company that comes up with good animation.
Yeah.
This was completely different. And well, yeah, when you watch Super Mario Bros, I had fun watching that movie.
Yeah, I had fun too.
It was a movie for really like the fans of Super Mario, and just to have like
this was their movie. This was their.
It's a good.
It's a good time.
It's a popcorn movie.
Exactly, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You go in the movie theater having a good time with your buddies and pals.
For sure.
Growing up playing Mario with the Super Mario Karts and Smash Bros. And seeing something like that, that's awesome. And good on them. Good on them.
Exactly. I mean, my friends and I freaked out because of fan service when with the Mario Kart sequence. Yeah. And when the blue shell came out, we were like, holy shit! They really did that. But it was that, and it's fine. I mean, I think that's the thing with things that with the Lego movie that came before, you kind of expect more from these kind of movies because you know that they can do better.
Exactly, yeah.
And especially in a year in which, I mean, Nimona too.
I forgot to mention that one.
So good. It's so good. So good. And I still have to watch the other ones. I still have to watch Across the Spider-Verse and Elemental, the Teenage Ninja Turtle one. And I feel like honestly, like, for example, Owl House, I didn't know that it was that recent. It was 2020. Yeah. I thought that show was from years ago, and no. I'm surprised that it's like so recent, and it makes sense that it's in an era in which animation is just so rich, so much bolder, so much more personal, so much more creative. And no, yeah, for sure. And I think it's such a bummer that something like the Oscars or other awards, like they don't recognize these kinds of movies because they're so much better than most live action.
And most of the time, almost all the time.
Yeah. I mean, 2014, which was the year of the Lego movie.
Yeah, it didn't get nominated.
Like, didn't even get nominated.
How does that happen? Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
I forgot who won it, but it should have been the Lego movie.
It won, I think, Big Hero 6, which was good. Okay. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, yeah. But if I had to put it against Lego movie, Big Hero 6, I'm gonna go with the Lego movie.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I don't think it was even the Big Hero 6 was. That was the year of also How to Train Your Dragon 2, which was also amazing. Exactly.
That was a tough year. I'll admit.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's it's weird. It's weird that only throughout the entire run of the Academy, there have only been three animated movies nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you want to know the three? I'll quiz you right now. Schmodown question. What's the three movies?
I think it's that question that takes me back. I think Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast. Toy Story 3.
You got two?
And I want to say I always get confused the last one because is it Up?
It's Up, yeah.
It's Up. Okay, because I always get confused. Is it Up or Wall-E? Which came first?
No, you know what? I always get confused. I think it is. Let me do my double check. Let me do my research.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually Wall-E.
Me, because you know what? Wall-E is such a good movie as well.
Wall-E, I have. You know, it's funny. Wall-E, I have a controversial opinion about that movie.
Oh, please do share.
I think it's a great social commentary, but not the best narrative. I think as a narrative, it kind of falls a little bit flat.
Okay.
But that's really because I don't really connect with the human element. That they do when they're introduced to the human beings in that movie. My favorite part of the movie is easily the first 30 minutes when we see Wall-E and Planet Earth, and it's basically all visual storytelling, almost like no dialogue
at all.
And when it transitions to, you know, the spaceship and all, it's fine, but it didn't grab me with that wonder that I had in the first 30 minutes, you know. Okay. But it's a great social commentary, and I totally get why people love it, for sure. It's just a me thing.
By the way, you were right. It was Up.
It was Up. Okay, yes. Perfect.
So 10 movie. 5 points to you, man, my friend. Now that we are in your third attempt into YouTube, we have Darkrai. Where does the name Darkrai originate from? Did you find that? Did you put two and two things together and said, "Bam, here is my child of Darkrai"? Or where did it come from? Where is the origin story?
Okay, the Darkrai is just this. Oh my god, it's the dumbest thing. It's just such a meme that I didn't intend to create. But the thing is that, okay, Moscow reacted to Wheelas Reacts. For those who don't know, I mean, come on, who doesn't know who she is?
Shout out to Wheelas Reacts.
Yes, no, she's the best. She reacted to our house reactors, right? And the thing is that I remember when that happened, I think I was asleep because when like I checked my channel, right, and it was like 3,900 subscribers, and I got to sleep. 5 hours later, 6 hours later, I see my channel was almost 4,000 subscribers. It grew like 70, 80 subscribers. And I was like, what the fuck? What has just happened? The algorithm was not that kind to me. I checked my notifications. I checked on YouTube that there was a mention of me in a video. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I see that is Wheelas Reacts. And I was like, no way. No way. Because I knew who she was because of the Stranger Things reactions. That's when I first got into her. When she started the Owl House reactions, I was like, okay, no, I gotta unsubscribe because that's a show I actually want to react to.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to spoil myself. But when I got that notification, I was like, wait, what the heck is happening? And I'm seeing these names, and it's Morgan Terry. It's not Survivor's Fangirl. I'm like, how? Why? I know these. I've seen these people on YouTube, like their names popping in. They're so much bigger than me. There's no way she reacted to me. And the thing is that when I only watched my part because I think the rest of the video included a ton of spoilers. By that time, I was just halfway through season 1, and I go to that part in which she's trying to pronounce my name, and she's like, Darqui, and I laughed my ass off with that. It was so funny. I was like, and then I check on my Twitter. She reached out to me, and she said to me, "I'm sorry because of the spoiler thumbnail, because supposedly there was another thumbnail in that video,
Mm.
and they changed because I potentially was going to watch this video because I was mentioned. So she reached out to me, and it was such a fun conversation. And then I asked her if it was okay to use that segment of that video of hers in which she mispronounces my name. And when I put that part of the video in my Owl House video, which is I think the reaction to episode 11 of season 1, the Sense and Insensitivity,
Mm.
in the intro of that video, I joked about it, right? And when she says Darqui, just as a joke, I put a text Dark Cry because that's what it sounded like to me.
Right.
I didn't know that it sounded like a Pokemon that it's basically the same name, Dark. I had no idea. And shortly after I posted that video, there's this comment that it was like, okay, now from now on, you're gonna be Darkrai. People really like that, and a bunch of other comments were Darkrai. Yes, the Darkrai thing. I put in a text, right, and people in the comments really like that, and I thought, okay, maybe then I'm going to keep that Darkrai meme alive in the next video,
Okay.
and then the next video, and then in the next video, and it just became this. It just became this thing in the Owl House reactions. It was specifically in the Owl House reactions because I haven't really tried that with the Shura videos, because I mean they have a very similar audience, but really
Right.
the meme started because of the Owl House, and because of that, well, I got into Moscow's Discord server, and she streams over there with video games and all, and she calls me Darkrai. She addresses me as Darkrai. So in her community, I'm also known as Darkrai, not as Darky, you know? And it was just a huge like snowball effect within the community and the communities that there are some like people intertwined, in
Right.
everyone
Yeah.
else's. And it just became this thing. And Morgan also calls me Darkrai. Because of Moscow, Elijah calls me Darkrai as well. So yeah, it was because of me. It wasn't because of Moscow, because it really was me that I put the text Darkrai, and I just didn't know that it was going to be that fun for people.
Right. And it sounds like you're not really against it. You're pretty much embracing the Darkrai moniker, if you will. And knowing those communities, I've been in those Discord for a while now. There's nothing but fun, nothing but a good time. Seeing how they've just been so open and fun with you, has it just been so kind of refreshing seeing that positivity towards you and your channel when it comes to doing your reactions?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Actually, like it has made me appreciate a lot more what I do, because when I saw Moscow react to me in those videos, I never really gave it a full thought to how people would react to my videos. I thought like, yeah, I was doing the best videos I could, but I never gave it a thought how funny it can be for people, because Moscow was really laughing with the parts that she saw my videos. I was like, huh, that's interesting. I never really thought like my videos could be that fun, you know?
Yeah.
And so starting off of that reaction that she gave to with some of my Owl House videos, I started to give a lot more effort into my editing. Like beforehand, I was very like I gave a lot of even so a lot of effort and time to that in the production of a video. But after that, like it became so much more important to me, because I was thinking I could really like take this as an advantage and make the videos as entertaining as they can be. And because of that, I think like the channel, yes, like the videos have been much more like I haven't been as consistent with the uploads of the videos,
Hmm.
but the videos have gotten to be like at a point in which like I don't know, whenever I post a video, I'm just really, really excited about how people are going to react to this. How are they going to respond to this? And because of that, I feel like I don't know, I just appreciate this a lot more. And I feel like having that connection with content creators like Moscow and Morgan and Elijah, like have really made me appreciate just to have, yes, like as much fun with these videos as possible, but also it gave me a lot of like insight of how important can these videos be for the community, for people in general, because there's a reason why people respond to reaction videos. They really feel accompanied. They really feel like I've even got comments like that. Like I really feel
Mm.
like I'm there with you, um, and like analyzing and reacting to this, and it just made me like I don't know, like it made me just have like a little bit of a break in terms of like not uploading as much as I can, but as best as I can. Like really put my time and heart with every single video because you don't really know what anyone else is going through. So whenever I think of posting a video, I just think of Moscow reacting to that those videos of mine, those sections of that video of mine, because I think that could perfectly be a person of my community and helping, and I could be helping out a person like that.
Okay.
So yeah, and just having them as not only like people like they're co-workers in a way, you know,
Hmm.
because we do the same thing, but also just personal connections, friends.
Right.
It's been so refreshing, so rewarding, and it's an entirely new atmosphere than I was used to when talking about media, when talking about
Hmm.
movies and shows. So no, yeah, it's been the best, and I'm so grateful for that for sure.
And that's really awesome to hear how they're just so opening and freeing to give you help and advice, whatever you need. And
Mm-hmm.
actually brings up this question. Is it how does it kind of feel being part of this kind of community now with reactors? Because I see reactors nowadays and they're very
Mm-hmm.
open with helping one another out. I remember
Oh yeah.
going back with my interviews with Moscow and Morgan. They're just they talk to Mikey Venture or they talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
If they need help, they'll let them know, hey, try this video, try see if that helps your channel, and they'll help each other back and forth. Whereas back in the day on YouTube, where it
Yeah.
was mostly filled with movie reviewers, not to harken back on that, it was very tribalism, very back and forth with them themselves, the Grace Randolphs versus the Campias of the world, and
Yeah.
that whole nonsense. And but nowadays, it just seems if you get into Reactor, you know they're very opening, they're very forthcoming, and helping each other out. Is it kind of good to be in that space and just not have to worry about have to compete with this other dude? No, I'm actually gonna help this guy out. I'm gonna help this girl out. I'm gonna help
Exactly.
this person out because they're gonna tell them, "Hey, come look at me." I'll make sure to look at them.
Honestly, it's the best. Like you, that the way you describe it is great because it really is like I think what YouTube is supposed to be.
Mm,
It's supposed to be about sharing. It's
exactly.
supposed to be about really like having having fun, of course. Now, content creators, like what a lot of people don't know is that yes, that this is what we do. We enjoy this, but it's also a job, right? We have to take this seriously and we have a lot of time and effort put into this, but at the end of the day it's really about sharing what we love and creating a community, an audience. At least that's how I see it. And I think that within the reactor community, what has really helped is that sensation of um of having like a collective sense of belonging, what makes the community really special. And
Mhm.
it's that lack of competition that really differentiates from other people, from
Right.
other content creators. Because yes, I see that competition focus on other types of communities that are extremely toxic, and that they harm more than do good.
Mhm.
And that's not only within the film community
Oh, it's in
out
all
there,
aspects. Yeah.
but also gaming and all. It's like
Mhm.
it goes so much more. It goes so much more beyond that. And I feel like what this like corner of the reactor community has achieved so far, it just something to really appreciate and to keep like to keep solidifying it. Because, for example, I think what Moscow, I think really this is thanks to Moscow, and I really admire what she has done. Especially considering that she had a previous YouTube channel. It
Mhm.
was already big, and she restarted basically
Yeah.
with this YouTube channel, and she has been very successful
From scratch. Yeah.
from scratch. Um, she reached out to me when actually this idea of having like this this space for reactors to really help out each other, and to really give like support and ideas and all. It was started out by Moscow, and I said to her, yeah, like let's go for it. Let's go for that space. And that's where I met Morgan, and
Okay.
that's where I met Mikey and So Everdream as well, and lovely people, great content creators. And I feel like that is the idea of this. And I feel like it's just so much more um rewarding. And in a sense, when you do that, when I do reaction videos, I really don't think about, oh, is it this gonna perform better or worse than my peers? Like
Mm.
I just care about if it's going to perform than my other videos, if it's
Right.
going to reach out to more people, and if this video is as good as it can be. I'm just, if I think that sense of competition, I think it can be healthy as long as it's with yourself,
Okay.
depending on how you manage it, of course.
Right.
But if it's with other people, like, you're getting into a really tricky and toxic area, and I think like if you go for that way, you have to reconsider what you're doing, because that's not the path. So no, yeah, I feel like this has given me a completely different and much better experience than I had with engaging with YouTube before as a viewer, and now engaging with this as a content creator. I couldn't ask for better, to be honest.
Nice. That's honestly great to hear, especially how the internet is nowadays, especially on X. I'm whatever the name of it is now. It could be changed by next week. Who knows?
Oh
um,
yeah.
being that you are in Costa Rica, this is an international style interview we're doing here. A lot of the times when shows are out, they've done their run. They don't usually put out the whole series in your country, in your
Yeah,
market. Do you find that difficult when you're trying to do reactions for that show, especially if they're not available to you? Or do you try to wait it out? Hopefully they'll come to my country when it comes, or do you work to find that workaround?
great question. I think I have only experienced that difficulty recently with the Owl House, because I got to, as of right now, I'm missing only 4 episodes of season 2 of the Owl House. And when I finished reacting to episode 17 of season 2 of the Owl House, I found out that there's no more episodes available in Disney Plus over here. I was like, what the frick?
Yeah.
Like, and then a few days ago, I found out that, okay, now they released the whole season. I was like, okay,
Mm.
if I tweet about it in some way, they're gonna, I don't know,
Someone's gonna see it. Someone's gonna
someone's
say,
gonna
"Hey."
see it. Exactly. Um, but yeah, does affect in some way for sure. For example, I did wait for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish to come out to a streaming service, and it came out actually last month to HBO Max in my hands.
Oh, okay.
And exactly, and only with subtitles in Spanish. So,
Oh.
of course, thankfully, yes, the audio was in English, but yeah, like I had to deal with that, of course.
Right.
And it was a movie that I wanted to react to for the first time for a very long time, ever since it got such good word of mouth with personal friends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it does affect, but to so right now, not so much, because I've had the lock so far that whatever I want to react to at the moment, it's there.
Okay.
Like The Legend of Korra is there, She-Ra is there. When I reacted to Dune, yeah, it was a couple months later after it was, because when Dune was released in the United States, I think it like at the same time it was released in theaters and in HBO Max, I think.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did a day and date sort of thing back then.
exactly. And over here in Costa Rica, we had to wait for it to hit streaming service. So, and I wanted to react to that movie for the channel. It has affected, but very minimally, not in the main content. As by the time I'm posting videos, for example, like I figured that by the time I post the end of season 2, the Owl House reactions, I feel like season 3 is going to be there in Disney Plus by the time I get there. So yeah, it's been has somewhat affected me, but not so much.
Okay, nice. And with movie reactions, especially with the newer ones coming out, because I know as we talk about, you're a huge movie fan. Do you try to maybe not see them in theaters and then wait till they come out on streaming service to do a reaction for your channel?
Oh,
Or do
for
you
sure.
for sure?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's good, man. You're good. Or do you try to like maybe, you know what? It's gonna be a long way, especially for being you're in Costa Rica. You don't know when it's gonna be in your country. Do you try to, when it's out. I gotta see it because as obviously you're a big movie fan. You just love the cinema. You just gotta go see it in the theaters because there's some movies that you just have to
Yeah,
experience it in the theaters.
exactly. For example, I wanted to watch Across the Spider-Verse in the theaters. I was really looking forward to
Mm,
that movie, and especially because I watched Into the Spider-Verse in theaters, and I
okay.
loved that movie, and I wanted to re-experience that again with the sequel. Then I was thinking, wait, I think the channel is really lacking in movie reactions as of right now, and there's other couple movies that I want to see in the theaters this year, and that was Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Barbenheimer.
So I wanted to save that money at the end of the day for Barbenheimer, right?
Yeah.
and and guard Across the Spider-Verse for a reaction in the channel. And mainly because I think it goes with the brand of the channel, it's animation, it's something that I really love, which is Spider-Man. And I haven't really shared my love with Spider-Man as much so far. And at the same time, I do want to keep that theater experience for sure. Like, I wanted to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer. I watched them on the same day, actually. And it
Oh,
was,
you did the double feature.
I did the double feature.
Okay,
I
oh,
did.
nice. Then did you
I
dress?
watched.
Did you go dress up as well? Because hey, there's no shame in that, my friend.
Hmm. Oh, no. Like, I went with a group of friends, and
Okay.
like half of them were like pink, and half of them were black. I went all black because I did, exactly. And I didn't have any pink. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go all black.
Hey.
And we watched Barbie. We had a great time. And then afterwards, like an hour later, we watched Oppenheimer
Okay.
in IMAX, which was freaking
Oh,
phenomenal. It
that
was
was a
so
beaut.
good.
Oh, so beautiful.
And yes, and it was like some of the fastest 3 hours in my life. It was insane.
Right? Oh my.
Total. Thank you. Yes, it was so fast. I was blown away by how fast it was going.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time it got to the test of the bomb,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I think we're 30 minutes in. How is that? Like, and then I look, a friend of mine, I don't know, we're like almost 2 hours in. I was like, no way, no way,
Yeah.
we're almost 2 hours in. And that's the thing. I wanted to keep that for a theater experience because
Hmm.
I I'm aware that these movies, as popular as they can get on YouTube, I'm aware that they can do very well reactions wise. But I always keep in mind, um, if it's going to go, like if it's going to align with the brand of the channel at that moment,
Hmm.
and if it's going to attract the right audience.
Mm.
And that's what that's why I'm always very selective with the content that I want to watch for the channel, because I have experience in the past in which I just I think I was just going way too ambitious with the channel.
Mm.
When I finished The Legend of Korra and Arcane, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a rewatch of Avatar Last Airbender with my ex-girlfriend. I'm going to do Attack on Titan reactions. I'm going to do my ex-girlfriend. Well, it was my girlfriend at that time, but it's not my ex-girlfriend. First time watching Pirates movies, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and then
Hmm.
the Star Wars movies. And at the same time, it was She-Ra and the Prince of Power for the first time. I was going all over the place. And
Mm.
at that time, I did not know where my community was. I was so lost. And people actually in my Discord and on Twitter and all reached out to me, and they were like, "Oh, I'm very worried about the channel. It's okay if your videos are not performing that well, but I love their content and all." They were aware. They were very well aware. And so at that time, I thought, wait, I'm just not having a focus anymore. That the way I did with Legend of Korra, because it was only the Legend of Korra and Arcane. And even at that time, I was trying out some other stuff that did not work. Like
Mm.
I reacted to Loki actually. I
Okay.
reacted to Loki, but those videos performed very poorly, and it
Mm.
attracted a totally different audience, and one that I did not connect with as much the same the way I did with the Legend of Korra or Arcane.
Mm.
So when I was doing Shira for the first time, it was amidst this huge mess in the channel in a way that I was experimenting for sure, but I just wanted to attract every kind of audience, but I didn't know why, you know.
Mm.
So in that sense, I I said to myself, okay, I'm just gonna give a shot to animation. I'm gonna give a shot to Shira. I want to see where Shira goes, because this is a show I'm actually really enjoying.
Hmm.
Attack on Titan. I was loving the hell out of that show, but it was just not getting the views that the channel needed, so
Right.
I canceled that show for the channel. Um, and first time watching of my girlfriend, they had good views, but they weren't attracting many subscribers. So I I gave a shot to Shira because it was the most balanced out of them all, and it aligned the best with what came before with Shira and with Korra and Arcane. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna go for animation. I think the live action stuff, I'm just gonna keep it for either myself or for Patreon, for the
Okay.
ones that are fans, like more like that are fans of the channel, of course, yes, but also the ones that want to watch more than what I do in the channel. So yeah, I when I was like in this year with Spider-Verse and Guardians
Mm.
and Barbie and Oppenheimer, I was like, okay, I just gotta be very selective and gotta be um as careful as possible with the content that I select, because my channel is in a position in which it's gotten a much more like authentic identity than it did before.
Right.
And I got a guard Spider-Verse for the reaction and Barbie and Oppenheimer for myself. And it has been very healthy because it allows me to be to really have time for myself with movies and shows, and the rest of the content for the reactions for YouTube. So no, yeah, it has definitely affected, but in the best way possible.
Okay.
So for sure, yeah.
And it kind of sounds like you experience a form of burnout, if you will, when you were trying to do so much at the
It
same
did.
time. Yeah. When you experience that form of burnout, do you just try to, take a step back, evaluate, and just reposition yourself, like you said a few seconds ago? Just try to not put so much out, but just a little at a time. Do a Shira, do Owl House, and just see where that goes from there.
Yeah, for sure. It gave me time to really understand my audience much more and what they were particularly responding to. Because with Shira, I feel like I had a very similar, like in the start of that Shira journey, it was very similar to Legend of Korra and Arcane in the way that how I responded to the characters. Because right at the beginning, they were always telling me, "Oh, I love how you're approaching Adora and Catra. Like it's very refreshing." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm gonna keep up with this. I'm gonna keep up with this in the channel." And it was slow for sure, because the first Shira video, it didn't even hit 1,000 views until a full month and a half later. It was very, very slow. But the time I did the Owl House and the Dragon Prince, like a lot of people came to the channel and they were staying in the channel because what they saw in the channel, it just made sense. It was Shira, the Owl House, and the Dragon Prince. It was content that made sense together. And even at that time, I feel like I was a little bit too ambitious because I was dealing with 3 shows that had a good fan base. And the way I do my reactions, so much emphasis in the editing, I feel like it was just too much at the time. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna do just Shira and the Owl House.
Okay.
And the Dragon Prince for later. And that has allowed me to be like much more careful and thoughtful with the videos I put out there. Like with the content within the content. Like it's not only a reaction, but I also wanted to make it like an analysis, and also a rewatch through the text that I put throughout the video. Because when I look back on the Legend of Korra videos, they were reactions, only reactions. And they're fine, but I don't identify as much with that type of content as I do with the current ones. I feel like the current ones are the ones that speak more to how I process media and the way I have so much fun with media. And I feel like having it being animation, which can be very dynamic with how characters move and how goofy it can be and all, it allows me to be goofy as well with my editing, with my videos. So it's gotten to a point in which like that evaluation of what my audience wants and gets out of this, it has allowed me to like be much more aware of what I put out there for sure, but also how I do these videos, because it's very important for me to really put out the best content that I can put out there. Being aware of how entertaining reactions can be. Right. And reaction, I mean, I don't know, there's so much more that you can do with editing that it's allowed me so much creativity, and it really has allowed this really genuine connection with my audience. So yes, no, I think it was a necessary burnout, really, because it really allowed me to understand my content and my community much better, for sure.
Nice. I don't think I've never heard of that. A necessary burnout. That's kind of an refreshing way to see it.
No, yeah, I mean, because if I didn't, if I feel like if I didn't go through that, I just might be doing the same mistakes all over again
Hmm.
and not learn properly.
Okay.
I mean, there are many content creators out there that can like put a lot of stuff. They can deal with that because they have editors, because they have more tools. Me, I'm just a one person channel, you know.
Right.
Well, that's actually not true, because the other person that's also involved in the channel is the one that does the thumbnails of the videos.
Okay.
It's he's called Louis Ralph. He's from Philippines, and he's the best.
Shout out to Louis.
Yeah, Louis is the best. But he really, like, the editing and all, it's all me, and it can be very time consuming for sure. But that's the thing, like, if I put out content that it's not like all together, like working for the channel, of course you're gonna feel that burnout. And I feel like that was a mistake that I had to learn in order to be much more focused today and much more careful with what I put out there, for sure.
Nice. Okay. And that's honestly kind of an inspiring kind of tale that you went through, just kind of taking all the beatings, taking all the trials and tribulation, just rising up, looking above that, and getting to where you are now. When you've seen your channel grow, like you've said, out of nowhere, rising, getting 90 subscribers one day, 100 in another day, just out of nowhere, does that, when you look at that now, is it weird looking back and just saying, wow, it's so weird to where you are at now. I believe you're above 6,000. You're still climbing, still rising.
Yeah,
Is it a weird thing looking back on it?
it is a bit weird for sure, because I'm not gonna lie, I've always, ever since a teenager, always dreamed of that 100K subscriber mark or 1 million mark. How would that
Right.
feel like?
Mm-hmm.
But I never really had it tangible in my mind. How would that feel in the moment? Like, what is the impact of that number? Because yeah, subscribers, I feel like they matter in the sense of how much I think you have progress, and um how much I guess how people can perceive your channel. Because I feel like, number of subscribers, it doesn't really matter in terms of money at all, but it does matter for people in terms of like legitimacy or authority on a subject matter. And for example, I remember Elijah, Not So Average Fangirl, from the Arcane reactions. And I think it's impressive how much he's grown,
Yeah.
going to 150,000 subscribers. And if you ask anyone, like 9 out of 10 people, they're gonna tell you that the the leader of the Owl House reactions is her. Like, it is her.
I told her that in my interview. I believe I clipped it out and posted it. Hey, you're one of the generals in this Owl House
Oh
army.
well, okay. Exactly. And I feel like me being such a small YouTuber, really, I think I just want to keep like figuring out what is the type of like voice that I want, like what voice I want to be. I know that is going to be, or at least in my mind, directed towards something like animation. I want to be someone that really emphasizes on this medium.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back on it, it just makes sense that I just keep going with this, because really I started out with something like The Legend of Korra. It was something that is very very appreciated, at the same time very controversial for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's appreciated by the right people, it can create really something very beautiful. And I'm really grateful to have reacted to that for the first time as the first thing in the channel, because the content of that show, I think it just makes sense with what I'm going forward, because it contains a great character, a great protagonist,
Mm-hmm.
really mature and adult themes. And at the same time, when I look back in the back in the comments, and also comparing to right now, that's the community I want to create. I want to be able to keep that thoughtful and caring and empathetic community, and not lose track of that, because it doesn't matter if I have 6,000 or 10,000, 100K. What I want to really be like, very caring about is the type of community I'm forming, shaping. Because a lot of times the community is a reflection of the content creator.
Right.
It could be in a good or a bad way. So I always want to keep track of the roots of the channel and why that worked in the first place, and just be taken by the journey, but not too much, in the sense of like, I don't want it to go too much into my head.
Right.
And because that can be very dangerous, and you can lose like your self-awareness kind of a bit. But it's made me like very, very grateful for this journey, for sure. Even though if I look back on it and I see other content creators growing faster than me, I mean, every journey is different. Every person's journey is different. So I'm just really grateful that I'm able to dedicate this as much as I can, because it's really what I love. I love watching movies and shows, and just talking about it is just something very special.
Nice. And that's really awesome here. You can obviously, people are watching, you can tell by just the way you're speaking, the look in your eyes and face. You love what you love. You love what you like to look to see, and
yeah,
and you so eloquently put that out in the universe. It's just speaking of Shira. It's funny. I went into that show being a He-Man fan, because I know understood the lore, understood the backgrounds, Master of the Universe, Skeletor, Oracle. I was expecting going in, okay, are we gonna get the crossover? Are we getting a crossover? Are we gonna get anything into it? And as the show went on, I forget all about that and just focus on what they're telling, because they could have easily gone into the fan service of getting that, bringing those fans in, and just bring in the He-Man, the Eternia, Saturnia, all that junk, and really get into the mythos of the He-Man universe, but just focusing on their own universe they were building and creating.
Yeah, no, that's what I experienced also with The Legend of Korra. That a lot of my friends were like either really loving it because it was a self-contained story with it had elements like characters from Amateur Laser Bender coming back, but a lot of other people were very upset because it was not a direct sequel to that show.
It wasn't meant to be.
And exactly. And right from the first episode of that show, I was like, awesome, it's a totally different thing. I'm totally on board with this. And I'm okay if there's no Avatar Laser Bender characters coming back. Obviously they were, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated that it was its own story. And with She-Ra, the only reference of He-Man that I had was my parents. I think my dad was a huge fan of He-Man, but I had no idea. I had absolutely zero idea about what the show was going to be. And it was so refreshing to see that emotional story, but also that representation, that LGBTQI plus representation, just going full on, especially in the last season. I was like, where was the story in my childhood? Where was the story?
Absolutely.
Because I think it's something that it was just at this time is really groundbreaking. It has to go to a much wider audience, and I suspect it's not gotten to a wider audience only because it's animated, but whatever.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, for sure. I think stories like She-Ra matter, stories like the Owl House matter. Because
Absolutely.
they break the mold. They break the mold, and it's so different from.
They challenge people. They challenge the stories.
Exactly.
Now, seeing all the just the positive representation that we've been watching over the last few years, is it kind of refreshing just seeing the new perspective on a certain demographic that it hasn't really been, as we were growing up, that wasn't really privileged to us growing up. That was kind of the no, don't talk about it. But now it's like, no, it's okay. That's everyday life. That's positive. Let's bring it up. Why are we scared?
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I think if anything, you're talking about the demographic that She-Ra and Owl House
Yes, my
have.
mistake. Apologies. Yes, Owl House, Shira, the LGBT community, just being more open, just
Okay.
because as we see in those shows, the kids in the show that have parents that are same sex. I think that's pretty normal. That's very common. Why is that not a why is that such a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. Kids grow up with same sex parents. That's pretty normal nowadays. And just getting your perspective when you're reacting to that, it's kind of like, okay, that's refreshing to see. Not not being so deified as other people like to do.
For sure, it's kind of refreshing because the discourse around other, like, the mainstream movies is so much more different. Like, they would go along the lines of, oh, this is too woke. This is
Mm.
this is very political. I think honestly, like, I'm gonna say it, that's bullshit.
Yeah, say it,
That's
man.
um because really, like, they're thinking from the lens of someone that is very conservative and traditional and haven't really went out to socialize, go to real life, and how the world works. And I feel like something like She-Ra and the Other House, they do reflect the world a lot more accurately, like so much more accurately. And actually it's actually great to have these voices like Dana Terrace and Nate Stevenson to come up with these stories. Even Nate Stevenson with Nimona, which is a very, very accurate portrayal of many different, like, topics at hand nowadays, like including how people treat trans people. And that's actually something that people have to talk about, And I feel like this has given me such a wider lens of appreciating media, merely just comparing it to the movies and shows I grew up with, and seeing through the lens of, okay, are they being inclusive, or are they having the representation they need? And it's so refreshing to see the shows and kind of like realizing how little of content like this was back in the day, like just extremely little. And if it was I don't know, the fact that it's animated, right? They're geared more, yeah, these are geared towards a younger audience.
Yeah.
But a lot of the fans of these shows are adults. And that's so important, because if there wasn't that, if it wasn't like that, there would be like a huge gap between generations, for sure.
Yeah.
And me being someone that over the past few years has discovered has discovered that I'm a bi person, I'm a bisexual person, and that really solidified with these shows, that really has allowed me to be that authentic self that I always kind of guarded. When I was a teenager, I was never really sure But these shows, like, that's the thing. That's the power of these shows, that it allows people to really explore themselves and to really find their true unique voice. That when I finished Shira, not on YouTube, in Patreon. For those for waiting for Shira reactions, just give me a sec. I will post the Shira reactions. But
It's
when
gonna come, guys. It will come.
It's exactly. When I finished Shira, I was like, this is the show I had to grow up. Like, that this is the show that was made for me. This is totally for me. And when I finished watching it, it was actually the first that night when I finished reacting to Shira. Later, or before, I don't remember, I reacted to Enchanting Crumb Fright from the
Okay.
House. So it was this big explosion of emotions and all, and it just reconfirmed to me, yeah, I'm not the straight person I thought I was years ago. No, I'm bi, and I totally I can totally really just be myself and have that, in a way, that feminine side that's always been part of me that I never really got to express with other movies and shows, because it was mainly a discourse through the lens of, a male cishet. And now it's totally different. It's totally different. And that's why I feel like the audience of these shows, it just speaks to me. It just totally speaks to me. When I see the comments, I just feel like I belong. I finally feel like I belong. And I'm someone that likes many types of movies, many types of shows. It doesn't matter if it's something like Shira or something as, I don't know, more broody, or more broody, like Christopher Nolan movies, which is totally different kind of demographic.
Right.
I love that. But when it comes to people commenting about the piece of media, I finally feel like I belong here. Like I belong in a community that I actually relate to. So
that's awesome.
That's why I was saying, that's why I was saying that I am so glad to have selected these shows, Shira and Owl House, because I had no idea they had this representation, and it has been a blessing that, I don't know, it was some kind of, I don't want to say destiny, because I don't really believe in destiny, but I feel like it just had to happen, and it happened for a reason, and here we are. Yeah.
And just as we see how you were just saying, just to look in your face right now, just being open as you are right now, just being so freeing and being your true self. You put that all into your work, and you seeing reflect to you. Is it how refreshing is that, just to see where you started before? You tried 2 attempts, didn't really work out so well. You've tried and error a lot to where you are now. Do you see that yourself saying, okay, if I stay on this path, be who you are, you can see yourself going to where you need to be?
Oh, for sure. I feel like I'm right where I should be, and I just want to keep growing as a country, but also as a person, like in the sense of like really just keeping track of what I do, and just being aware that whatever I'm reacting to, I'm emotionally responding to a story and a set of characters that mean a lot to many people. And it really has allowed me to be like very, like, much more empathetic to characters and to themes that maybe years ago I wouldn't even give too much thought about that,
Right.
So yeah, I'm very happy with the impact of the the videos so far, as comparatively hasn't been as much as a boom to a lot of other videos, but it doesn't really matter to me, because if I happen to really like create a positive impact in my audience, then that's great. I'm going in the right path. As long as I'm doing that, then I'll keep progressing. I'll keep climbing, and I want to keep that hand in hand, that sense of like growing as a content creator and as a person. Like, I don't want to lose track of that at any moment.
Nice. Awesome. That's, again, great to hear. It's really cool hearing someone just seeing these shows and just being discovering who they really are, and not just in themselves, but in life in general. That's
Yeah,
really amazing to hear. We'll kind of wrap this up on this question right here. Thank you so much, Diego, for hanging around with me and everyone. We kind of, I think we went a
for
little
sure.
bit over time that we attended, but I think no one's complaining. This has been a great fun talk. What's kind of been,
Oh, for sure. No,
yeah,
I had the
absolutely,
best
man.
time. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. Please interrupt me anytime you want. What's kind of some of the goals you're looking for you, not only for yourself but for your channel? And is there a specific one you see down the road by year's end that you think it can really hit?
I think I mean, by the time I end the year, I would like to hit, like, numbers wise, maybe 10,000 subscribers. If I don't hit that, then it's fine. I'll keep climbing.
Okay.
Um, Now, in terms of content, I would like to, in some future, give a lot more emphasis to analysis videos, more than reactions. At a certain point, I think I would keep the reactions as the main content for a while. But I would love to give analysis videos like a real shot.
Okay.
And along the way, I feel like the live action content, I'll keep it just for myself or for Patreon, mainly because I do want to separate some of the content that I watch for my channel, like for the channel, and from my personal life, you know.
Right.
And in the future, maybe anime content, but it really depends on how really the copyright rules around that change or not. It really depends. If
Yeah.
not,
I
it
think
can
I've
be strictly,
I think I've
yeah,
heard Moscow say that it's very, very, very difficult because Japan and their copyright are very, very, very difficult compared to the U.S. and their copyright laws. So
for sure.
yeah, I
For
can.
sure. I mean, with Attack on Titan, I didn't have much of a problem, but
Mm,
actually, I didn't mention that I tried with Spy Family as well. I
mm.
uploaded a couple of Spy Family reactions. Both got blocked. Never was able to re-upload them again.
Oh dang.
And actually, because of that, because I couldn't continue Spy Family, is the reason why I started the Owl House in the first place. Because it was going to be Shira and Spy Family.
Oh.
Because Spy Family had that copyright problem, I put a poll, and it was either the Owl House, the Dragon Prince, or Steven Universe.
Mm.
And the Owl House won. The Dragon Prince won in Patreon, so I said, okay, I'm gonna go with both then and see what works. But yeah, maybe a fun fact that um, people could know. Um, but talking about the future of the channel, I just want to keep it animation. I want to
Okay.
keep it animation and be I want to like keep a focus on character analysis, because that's the thing I'm most passionate about, stories for sure. And yeah, as of right now, it's that I'm not thinking really about something more ambitious or like gaming or vlogs. Like, I really feel like I still have a long way in this platform. And yeah, I definitely just want to keep it animation and be someone that, because I really care for animation, I just want to feel like like a voice in this in some sort of way, keep growing in that sense. Like for example, the project I'm most looking forward to in the next few years is Arcane season 2. Like I'm so
I can't wait when that one
that's
comes
the
out.
juggernaut. Exactly. Yeah. No, yes. And the content around it, I think is going to be insane. And because I love season 1 of Arcane so much, I want to give special treatment to that show as well. So yeah, no, for sure. I feel like the future is still animation. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Diego, again, thank you for joining me here. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for sharing your love and passion, whether it be for film, animation. Thank you for that great origins of Darqui. That was a great story. If everyone wants
it wasn't Batman Begins, it was Darkrai Begins. Don't forget that.
Darkrai Begins. Hey, where's Nolan at? I think we could get that started. Hey, speaking of, get the Batman Cup.
Oh yeah. That's also like a symbol of the channel, of course. Like that's not going away for sure.
Nice. Yeah, if everyone wants to find you, where can people find you online if they want to find you on your socials and your channel?
Yeah, I'm not Darkrai. I'm Darqui on YouTube.
Darqui.
Yes, I'm on Twitter. I'm Darqui. Also on Instagram. I use more Twitter than Instagram. It's not X, it's Twitter. Okay.
Yeah, it's Twitter, guys. Don't let that person tell you what it is. It'll always be Twitter in our hearts.
Exactly. And yeah, you can find me there. I don't have a TikTok. But yeah, just well, that's another topic. I don't like TikTok, but that's another topic. Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram.
Nice. And you guys can follow me at Sam Macias on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. There at SamMac55. Instagram at Sam Macias5. You guys can find me at TikTok at SamMac55. Facebook, Sam Macias55. Threads, I'm also at Sam Macias5. And you guys find me on my YouTube channel at just Sam Macias. You type Sam Macias, I'm the first one there. You doubt me. If I'm wrong, I will send you a Canadian penny. That is not a lie. I've done it before. And until next time, you beautiful, lovely, gorgeous people out there. Bye.
Bye-bye.